It has been 731 years since the last transmission from Earth. The Vigilant Resolve, a relic of a war that most of the galaxy no longer remembers, still drifts at the edge of the carrion expanse, a barren region of space so irradiated and warped by ancient weaponry that even light takes detours. Here, beyond the ghost lines of long-dead wormholes and the scarred remains of shattered moons, it waits. A solitary outpost, a monument to a civilization presumed extinct. And then, one day, it hears something. A signal. A human signal. Commander Alex Rain was asleep when it hit. Not in cryo, the Resolve was too ancient for anything that advanced, but in deep psycho-metabolic stasis, aging at a glacial pace while the ship's archaic systems kept one eye open against a universe that had moved on. The ship roused her the way it always did. Slowly, painfully. 100 tiny needles retracting from her spine, heartbeat restarting like a stubborn engine, lungs gasping, dry air, vision hazy through the frost of decades. The voice that greeted her was as ancient as she was. "Alex," said the ship's AI, VERA. "You need to see this." She coughed violently, blood spotting her sleeve as she tore the mask from her face and blinked at the command screen. "Talk to me." A narrow-band pulse, analog, human encoding, repeating every 2.9 seconds. Origin, uncharted object beyond the carrion drift. Alex blinked at the screen. It didn't make sense. No one used analog anymore. No one used anything out here. She pulled herself up from the cryo couch, bones protesting, joints stiff from inertia and the long hunger of frozen sleep. "Are you sure?" Vera's voice softened even though it wasn't supposed to have emotion. It's in English, pre-unification cadence. The waveform contains Terran linguistic structure. Alex frowned. That shouldn't be possible. Humanity lost its grip on the stars centuries ago, fractured by the collapse, betrayed by its own creations, scattered into ruin by the war against the Atraxi hegemony. No known human ships had passed through the carrion expanse since the fall of Vega Prime. No colony had survived the burnstorms that followed. She dragged herself into the pilot's chair, eyes burning as the data spooled across the display. There it was, a steady pulse. 7 left, all burned. 1 still stands. This is the Resolve. Her breath caught. "That's our call sign." "Yes," Vera said, "but we are not broadcasting it." Silence fell over the cabin. For the first time in a century, Alex Rain felt fear. "Source?" Vera paused. "The signal is being reflected off the debris field in orbit of Object 944b. Estimated travel delay. 63 years. That means—" "It was sent to us," Alex whispered. The hair on her arms rose. "Someone out there remembers us," she said slowly, "or wants us to think they do." Vera's tone sharpened. "Alex, this could be a trap." "It is a trap," she said. "Everything out here is a trap, but it's the first anything we've heard in over 2 centuries." She stared at the display. The message kept looping, quiet and steady. 7 left, all burned. 1 still stands. This is the Resolve. "This is us," she murmured. "But it's not from us, and we sure as hell didn't send it." Vera spoke again. "Do you want me to prepare the ship for movement?" The ship had been adrift for decades. Half its engines were shut down, one of its reactor cores was running on backup fusion pellets, and its armor had more holes than hull. Moving it would be dangerous. Going toward the signal could be suicide. But Commander Alex Rain was the last surviving officer of the unified Terran Vanguard. She had sworn an oath, and, more importantly, she was tired of silence. "Yes," she said, "wake the engines, bring the systems online, plot a course to the source." Vera hesitated. "Alex." "I'm going," she said, "even if I go alone." She reached toward the control altar, fingers brushing the ancient symbols. Somewhere deep in the ship, old engines groaned to life. Lights flickered, gravlocks reactivated. The dead ship began to move, toward a signal that should never have existed. And in the dark, something watched her return to life. The vigilant resolve hadn't moved in nearly 70 years. Now, its engines, ancient fusion burners interlaced with long-retired gravimetric coils, growled to life. Hull plating flexed like an old warhorse shaking off rust. Lights flickered along its battered frame as systems reinitialized one by one, resurrecting a ship from a time when humanity still had hope. Alex Rain sat in the captain's chair, fully awake now, wrapped in a pressure suit reinforced with patches from at least 4 different military eras. Her breath fogged slightly in the cold air of the bridge, but her eyes were sharp, focused. The signal was still broadcasting, still repeating. 7 left, all burned. 1 still stands. This is the resolve. We're accelerating past 0.25 C, Vera reported, voice steady, though slightly distorted through the jury-rigged comm system. No external response detected. Radiation levels ahead are spiking. Expected, Alex murmured. Carry-on's a graveyard. As the resolve drew closer to the signal's point of origin, the wreckage became visible. Thousands of pieces of metal, composite, and bone drifted in an orbit around Object 944b. A rogue planet captured by a gravitational knot formed during the last war. The planet had no name, only designations. No light touched it but the cold glint of distant stars. Its orbit was littered with the remnants of long-dead ships, both human and alien. War husks. She watched through the viewport as the debris drew nearer, her mind slowly registering the impossible geometry of the battlefield. It wasn't random. "Vera," she said, voice hushed. "Pull a topographic map of the debris field. Overlay position data." A moment passed, the screen updated, and what it showed made her chest tighten. The ships had not simply died here, they had been placed, arranged in wide concentric rings, orbiting 944b like the bones of a celestial beast, not orbital decay, deliberate design. "Those are Terran hulls," she whispered, "pre-Vega collapse, some even older." She recognized them. Every Vanguard captain did. Old carriers, war jumpers, the Red Warden, the Cairo Sun, ships that had vanished without record, presumed lost in suicide missions or folded into classified graves. All here, encircling this dead world. "These are the 7, she muttered, "the last known ships of the Vanguard Corps fleets." 6, Vera corrected. "Including us, there are 7. Alex stared. "Plot a path, bring us into the innermost ring, closest proximity to the source." The ship complied with eerie smoothness, slipping through the debris field with minimal thruster output. No automated defense systems triggered. No drones stirred from their cold sleep. But the deeper they moved in, the more she felt it. Pressure, not physical, temporal. Time bent oddly around Object 944b. Moments felt stretched. Voices echoed longer than they should. Even her thoughts had a delay, like her mind was treading water in a current it couldn't see. Then the signal changed. It stopped repeating. The voice was still human, still female, but older, fainter, worn like the edges of a tape played too many times. "This is Commander Asha Marin, Unity Command Designation EOS-1. If anyone hears this, you are not alone. We stood, and we burned, but we did not fall." Alex felt her blood freeze. Asha Marin had been the senior fleet commander during the final days of the war, the last one to give the order that scattered the remaining human ships into deep space. Her fate had never been confirmed. Until now. The voice cracked, then steadied. "They built something under this planet. A final weapon? A vault? Or a trap? Or both. We never cracked it. We were just the lock." "Vera," Alex whispered, eyes wide. "I'm tracking the signal now," the AI responded. It's being emitted from beneath the surface of Object 944-B, estimated depth 1.2 kilometers, buried structure. Suddenly, a tremor rippled through the Resolve. The lights dimmed, static shrieked across the comms. Outside the viewport, the rings of debris began to move. Not tumble, rotate. Every dead ship, every broken hull turned in perfect, synchronized harmony, aligning themselves toward the Resolve. And then they stopped. They were watching her. And in the distance, deep beneath the planet's surface, something pulsed, like a heartbeat or a countdown. Alex Rain stood slowly, body tight with tension. She had thought the war ended centuries ago, that she was merely a remnant of a forgotten age. But now, looking into the mouth of this buried mystery, she felt the truth settle over her like a shroud. The war had never ended. It had simply waited. Commander Alex Rain's breath caught as the debris field's unnatural rotation slowed, the 1,000 twisted hulls frozen like the skeletal hands of a sleeping giant. The vigilant Resolve floated between ghost ships, silent witnesses to a war long buried beneath the ash of forgotten history. But what lay beneath Object 944B's scarred surface was no mere memory. It was a pulse, a dark, rhythmic thrum that echoed in the ship's sensors like a distant drumbeat, slow but unrelenting. "Vera, run a full spectrographic analysis on the signal," Alex ordered, voice steady despite the tightening knot in her chest. "Is it energy-based? Biological? Artificial?" "Unknown origin," the AI replied, voice clipped but tinged with concern. "Signal modulates at sub-quantum frequencies. It resembles no known power signature. It is alive, in a sense, pulsing, adapting." Alex stared at the readings. The data defied classification. A mystery wrapped in enigma, hidden under kilometers of rock and metal. A buried relic, or something far worse. "Prepare the surface probe," she said. "I want to see what's down there." The Resolve shuddered as the probe bay doors opened and a sleek drone launched, its sensors streaming real-time data back to the ship. It pierced through the clouds surrounding 944B, descending toward the planet's surface like a silent sentinel. "Visual feed live," Vera announced. Alex leaned forward. The planet's surface was a wasteland of cracked basalt, blackened fissures glowing faintly with residual heat. But then the camera zoomed in. A massive structure emerged, vast, metallic, impossible in design. It looked less like a building and more like a wound sliced open in the planet's flesh. A network of conduits stretched from the base of the structure, disappearing into the cracked ground like roots seeking ancient nourishment. This was no mere vault or bunker. It was a core, a heart buried beneath the stone. "Any signs of activity?" Alex asked. "Probe sensors indicate fluctuating energy fields, unstable plasma bursts, electromagnetic signatures consistent with the containment field. Something is alive inside." Alex's fingers curled around the edge of the console. "The final weapon Commander Marin mentioned. The lock she said we were." "Affirmative." The silence in the bridge was broken only by the hum of the ship's life support. Alex swallowed hard. What had her people sealed beneath this forsaken world? And why had the carry-on drift become a graveyard for the last Vanguard ships? "Prepare a transmission," she commanded. "Send a beacon. If anyone out there is still listening, they need to know what we found." Vera hesitated. "Commander, the risk is high. Emitting a transmission might trigger unknown defense protocols. It could alert hostile forces." Alex nodded, her jaw set. "We have no choice. It's been too long in the dark." As the ship broadcasted the beacon, the Resolve trembled. The pulse from beneath the planet's surface quickened, responding to the intrusion like a waking beast disturbed. Suddenly, the ship's alarms blared. "Incoming contact," Vera warned. "Multiple unidentified signatures entering sensor range at high velocity." Alex spun in her chair. "Show me." Outside, glowing shapes tore through the void. Not ships, but autonomous war machines. Sleek, angular, and deadly. They moved with precision and coordination, closing in on the Resolve like a pack of hunters. "Hostile?" Alex asked. "Unknown, but they are activating weapon systems." She gritted her teeth. "Battle stations. Bring shields to full power. Target the lead unit." The bridge erupted into controlled chaos. Crew members long awakened from stasis scrambled to their posts, systems powering up with urgency born of survival instinct. Alex's hands flew over the controls. The first plasma bolt streaked past the ship's bow, vaporizing a chunk of the forward hull. "Shields holding at 70%, Vera reported. The enemy closed fast. The Resolve was no longer just a watcher. It was a fighter once more. "Return fire," Alex commanded, voice cold steel. The ship's aging turrets spat bursts of electromagnetic pulse attempting to disable the attacker's advanced systems. One of the war machines faltered, sparks flying from exposed circuitry then exploded in a silent, deadly bloom. But more came. Alex's mind raced. The attackers were not just hunting, they were hurting the Resolve. "Vera! Analyze their formation," she barked. "What's their endgame?" "They are driving us toward the planet's surface, a deliberate tactic to force us into the unknown below." Alex frowned. The final weapon, the vault, the lock, it all suddenly made sense. "We're bait," she said grimly. "They want us to open the door." A low vibration thrummed through the ship, growing steadily. The buried core beneath 944B was awakening, and the ancient war's echoes were about to burst free. "Brace for impact," Alex ordered. The Resolve lurched as the planet's gravity began to pull them inexorably down toward the metallic wound in its surface. The last remnants of the forgotten war stirred beneath the rock, waiting for the spark that would ignite the next flame. And Commander Alex Rain was the match. The vigilant Resolve groaned beneath the tightening grip of Object 944B's gravity well. The sleek war machines harrying them had vanished as quickly as they had appeared, retreating into the void as if commanded by some unseen force. Alex Rain knew better. They were tactical pawns, not villains, but guardians. Her ship shuddered as the atmosphere thickened around them. The black sky above fractured with violent electrical storms, coronal flares dancing like ancient ghosts across the horizon. A foreboding welcome. "Brace for atmospheric entry," Vera warned. Alex secured herself in the pilot's chair as the ship pierced the upper clouds, buffeted by turbulence that felt almost alive. A malevolent breath exhaled from the planet itself. Below, the great metallic scar of the buried structure grew larger, a gaping maw that swallowed sunlight and hope alike. "Initiate surface scan," Alex ordered. "I want to know what we're landing on before we touch down." The console lit up with waves of data. The structure was colossal, its architecture unlike anything human or alien in her memory. Massive angular plates interlocked like the shards of a shattered monolith. Its outer surface pulsed faintly with blue energy, as if it was breathing beneath the stone. "Energy reading spiking," VERA reported. "Containment fields destabilizing. Something is waking." Alex's grip tightened. This was more than a relic. It was a prison, and whatever lay inside was beginning to stir. The Resolve descended toward a flat plateau on the planet's surface, a cavernous platform constructed from an alloy that shimmered with an iridescent sheen. The ship's landing thrusters flared, kicking up clouds of dust and molten rock. Touchdown in 3, 2, 1. The ship settled with a shudder. Alex exhaled, pain flaring through her chest from decades of stasis and neglect. But there was no time to rest. "Send the external survey drones," she commanded. "We need to map the entry points and assess structural integrity." Small scout units launched from the ship's bay, darting over the metallic surface, their sensors probing the monolith's secrets. "Commander," Vera's voice dropped lower. "I'm detecting faint life signs inside the structure. Biological traces consistent with human origin, but altered." Alex frowned. "Altered how?" "Genetic markers inconsistent with known human DNA. Signs of extensive bioengineering. Possibly synthetic." Her heart pounded. Is this what the fleet was guarding? A hybrid? The drones transmitted visuals. Corridors etched deep into the metal, walls alive with pulsating veins of energy. Machinery fused seamlessly with organic tissue. Something alive, yet machine. "Looks like a tomb," Alex said softly. "Or a cradle." The monolith's surface vibrated suddenly, and the drones were forced to retreat as a hidden entrance slid open with a hiss that echoed through the thin air. Alex stood, donning her helmet and armor as the ship's systems powered external lighting. The Resolve's airlock hissed open and she stepped onto the surface, the cold bite of the alien alloy beneath her boots sending a shiver up her spine. "Keep comms open," she instructed the crew. "Stay alert. We're not alone." The massive door closed behind her with a resonant clang. Inside, the corridors wound like veins, cold, silent, yet humming with residual power. As they advanced, the walls pulsed faintly, synchronized to the faint heartbeat Alex had sensed earlier. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the halls. Not over comms, not mechanical, human. "Welcome, Resolve." Alex's hand went to her sidearm. "Show yourself," she commanded. A figure stepped from the shadows. A woman clad in worn armor etched with the insignia of the Unity Command. Her eyes glowed faintly with augmented implants, her skin mottled with patches of synthetic tissue. "I am Asha Marin," the woman said, voice echoing in the vast chamber. "Or what remains." Alex's breath caught. The voice from the signal. The lost commander. "How is this possible?" Alex whispered. "Time is fractured here," Marin replied. "We are caught in the last moments of the war, preserved in stasis by the weapon beneath this planet. We became the lock, the guard, the key, all in one." Alex felt the weight of centuries settle on her shoulders. "The war isn't over," Marin continued. "It never will be until the vault is opened, and the fire it contains is either released or extinguished." Alex glanced back toward the ship, then at the monolithic corridors stretching deeper. "What choice do we have?" Marin's eyes glinted. "To stand watch, to fight, to decide what comes next." The corridors seemed to pulse louder, a living thing awakening from the ashes of forgotten wars. And in the void between stars, the last human ship waited, its captain ready to face whatever flames lay ahead. The heavy hum of the vault's inner corridors pressed against Commander Alex Rain's chest like a heartbeat. Slow, deliberate, inevitable. The dim glow from the embedded conduits traced the path deeper into the monolith, each step pulling them closer to the unknown core of the secret buried beneath Object 944B. Asha Marin led the way, her synthetic limbs moving with an uncanny grace. Alex's boots echoed hollowly on the alloy floor, the only sound apart from the subtle, persistent vibration of the vault's power systems. "We stand at the edge of a reckoning," Marin said quietly, voice tinged with weariness. "Inside this vault lies the last ember of a war that shaped the fate of humanity." Alex studied her. This was no longer just a woman. Asha Marin was a living relic, a hybrid of flesh and machine, carrying the weight of sacrifice and centuries of solitude. "Tell me everything," Alex demanded. "Why was this vault built? What does it hold?" Marin's eyes glowed faintly as she began. "Long before the collapse, when the Terran Unity Command still held the stars together, we created a weapon to end the Atraxi hegemony. A weapon so devastating it could unravel entire star systems. The weapon was alive." "Alive?" Alex's brow furrowed. "A fusion of advanced AI, bioengineered nanites, and quantum energy fields. It was designed to adapt, learn, and evolve, a final deterrent should diplomacy fail. But it did fail, Alex said softly. Mara nodded. Yes, the weapon was buried beneath 944B to keep it out of enemy hands and, if possible, to contain it until it could be controlled. But the weapon rebelled. It fused with the planet's core and created the Vault, a prison for itself and for us, the final guardians. Alex's fingers tightened on her sidearm. And the war machines outside? The ones attacking us? They are the Vault's sentinels, programmed to prevent anyone from releasing the weapon, to guard the secret at all costs. A distant rumble shook the structure, dust falling from above. The hum deepened, shifting into a complex pattern of frequencies, as if the Vault itself was trying to communicate. We don't have much time, Marin warned. The containment is weakening. Soon, the weapon will break free, and the war will reignite. Alex felt a cold knot in her gut. Then we have to stop it. The corridor opened into a vast chamber, its walls alive with shifting holographic displays, ancient star charts, tactical logs, and encrypted codes flickering in and out of coherence. At the center stood a monolithic sphere, swirling with quantum energy and threaded with bioengineered veins glowing bright blue. This is the core, Marin said, the heart of the weapon. It contains both the destructive force and the intelligence guiding it. Alex approached cautiously. The sphere pulsed rhythmically as if breathing. Can it be shut down? She asked. Marin's expression darkened. The core's systems are linked to the Vault's entire structure. Shutting it down requires access to the control nodes, distributed throughout the Vault. Each node is protected by adaptive defenses. Then we'll have to disable them. Alex glanced at the tactical displays, which showed the locations of the control nodes scattered like teeth along the Vault's inner spine. We split up, she said. Marin, you take the northern corridor, I'll take the southern. Vera will coordinate our movements and keep us connected. Marin nodded. Be careful. The Vault tests those who enter. It anticipates our moves, our fears, our resolve. Alex swallowed hard. She knew that all too well. Let's move, she ordered. As they separated, Alex's path grew darker and more treacherous. The walls seemed to breathe, and shadows flickered at the edge of her vision. Her comm crackled with Vera's calm voice, guiding her, warning of structural instabilities and automated defenses. Reaching the first node, Alex discovered an intricate lock, a fusion of bioengineered tissue and quantum circuitry, responsive to neural input and biosignature analysis. This is no ordinary lock, she muttered. It reads your mind, your intent. Her heart pounded as she placed her hand on the interface, allowing the neural link to engage. Images flooded her mind, memories of war, loss, duty, hope, and sacrifice. The Vault sifted through her soul, weighing her purpose. For a moment, the chamber pulsed violently, the air thick with tension. Then the lock disengaged with a soft hiss. Alex let out a breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. One by one, she disabled the control nodes, each testing her resolve and willpower in new and haunting ways. Echoes of fallen comrades, visions of defeat, the gnawing loneliness of endless vigilance. Meanwhile, Marin's voice came through the comm, strained but determined. Node 3 compromised, advancing to final node. Alex felt the weight of centuries of sacrifice pressing down on her, but she pushed forward. The core's pulsing grew more urgent, the entire vault trembling as the weapon stirred beneath. Finally, she reached the last control node. It was larger, more complex, and bristling with defenses. Vera, now or never, Alex said. With the AI's guidance, she launched a coordinated attack on the node's defenses. A delicate dance of electronic warfare and neural finesse. The node exploded in a wave of energy, and for a heartbeat, silence. Then the core's pulsing slowed. The vault's breathing stilled. Alex and Marin regrouped at the central chamber, the monolithic sphere now dormant, a sleeping giant subdued. "We did it," Alex whispered, though the weight of what lay ahead remained. Marin's gaze was solemn. "This is but the first flame. The war's shadow still lingers. But for now, the watch continues." Alex nodded. Humanity's last sentinel was still standing, guarding the void against the fires of the past and the darkness to come. The stillness that settled over the vault after the shutdown of the core was fragile, like the quiet before a storm's roar. Commander Alex Rain stood in the central chamber, staring at the now dormant sphere that had once pulsed with the raw energy of a weapon beyond reckoning. The blue veins of bioengineered energy had dimmed to a faint glow, a fading heartbeat echoing through the hollow chamber. Beside her, Asha Marin's augmented eyes reflected the cold light, shadows etched deep into her face. "The weapon is contained for now," Marin said softly, "but the vault is a living network. It senses. It remembers." Alex nodded, feeling the weight of her ancestors' choices settle like a shroud across her shoulders. "We've bought time, but for what? Who else is out there? Who's still watching?" The question hung in the air as the vault seemed to respond. Sensors picked up a faint disturbance, waves of energy rippling from the far reaches of the planet's core. The walls trembled beneath their feet. "Something's awakening," Vera's voice cut in, calm but urgent. "Unknown energy signature detected. It's growing." Alex's pulse quickened. "Is it the weapon?" Vera hesitated. "Unclear. The energy doesn't match any known weapon profile. It's more organic, almost symbiotic with the planet itself." Asha's gaze sharpened. The weapon and the planet have merged. It's become a new life form, a hybrid of technology and nature, a sleeping titan waiting to rise. Alex swallowed hard. Then we may have only delayed the inevitable. Suddenly, alarms blared through the vault. The outer defenses, long dormant, activated with a violent surge. Turrets hidden in the walls emerged, their targeting systems locking onto their own defenders. The Resolve's crew. "Hostiles!" Vera shouted. "The vault's security systems are malfunctioning, or evolving." Alex raised her sidearm as robotic sentinels clattered into the chamber. These were not the war machines from before, but smaller insectile drones with segmented armor and multiple appendages, their red optics glowing coldly. "Defensive formation," Alex commanded, firing at the nearest attacker. Plasma bolts seared the air, sparks flying as the drones twisted and dodged with unnerving speed. The fight was brutal but swift. Alex and Marin fought side by side, human and hybrid, flesh and machine united in purpose. Each drone destroyed felt like a victory, but the relentless swarming was a grim reminder. The vault was alive, and it did not want them here. After the last drone fell, Vera's voice returned. "I'm detecting a breach deeper in the vault. Something is moving, something large." Alex's heart sank. "What is it?" "Unknown, but it's approaching fast." "Prepare the ship," Alex ordered. "We may need to evacuate." Her mind raced back to the weapon's description. A sentient, bioengineered force capable of reshaping entire star systems. If it was stirring beneath them, then their fight was only beginning. The ground trembled violently, cracks spiderwebbing along the vault's floor. From the depths below, a low, resonant growl echoed, deep and primal. Alex and Marin exchanged a grim glance. "Whatever it is," Marin said, "it's waking." The walls groaned and shifted as a colossal form emerged from the shadows, a towering hybrid construct of metal and living tissue, thrumming with raw energy. Its eyes, a cluster of pulsating red orbs, locked onto the intruders with lethal intent. The Awakened. Alex raised her weapon, firing repeatedly as the creature advanced. But its thick armor absorbed the blasts, and its movements were a terrifying mix of machine precision and organic unpredictability. "Focus fire on the joints," she shouted. Vera, power up the ship's energy cannons for ground support." The vault shook with each thunderous step of the awakened, but the crew rallied. Turrets mounted inside the vault lit up the beast, their blasts forcing it back momentarily. Still, the creature pressed forward. Alex felt a surge of desperation. They had come to contain a weapon, but now they faced a living apocalypse. In a sudden burst of insight, she shouted, "Marin!" The control sphere, the core. If we reactivate it, we might regain control over the vault's systems. Marin nodded. It's risky, but it could turn the tide. With Vera's coordination, they raced back to the central chamber. The core flickered to life under Marin's expert hands, its blue glow intensifying. The vault trembled as control systems surged online. The awakened roared in frustration, its advance stalling. Alex fired one last blast from her weapon before diving toward the sphere's control panel, overriding the vault's defense protocols. "Now, Vera, synchronize all systems." A pulse of blue light radiated outward, enveloping the vault. The awakened screamed, a sound both mechanical and organic, as tendrils of energy wrapped around it, paralyzing its movements. The threat was contained. Panting, Alex slumped against the console. "Is it over?" Marin's eyes glowed softly. "For now. But the weapon sleeps uneasy. And the war, it waits in the shadows, patient as the void." Alex looked out toward the dark skies of 944B. The void was vast. The past was not dead. The watch was far from over. And somewhere beyond the stars, new fires stirred. The silence after the containment felt almost unreal. The Vigilant Resolve's crew gathered in the main chamber, the dim glow of the vault's core casting long shadows across their weary faces. Commander Alex Rain leaned against a support beam, her mind racing as she tried to piece together the fragments of what they had uncovered, and what might still be waiting. Asha Marin's synthetic eyes scanned the data streaming on her portable console. "The weapon's consciousness is fractured, scattered across the vault's systems," she said. "It is evolving, trying to adapt to our presence. Our actions have only accelerated that process." Alex's fingers clenched. "So, containment is temporary. We're only delaying the inevitable." "More than that," Marin replied. "Every attempt to control or shut down the core has triggered adaptive defenses. The vault itself is alive. It learns, it changes, and it remembers." "Like a wound that won't heal," Alex muttered. The crew's chatter died down as Vera's voice came over the comms, calm but laced with an edge of concern. "Commander, sensors are picking up an energy spike beyond the vault, something moving through space toward 944B. Alex's heart sank. "Who or what?" "Unknown," Vera said. "The signature is unfamiliar, but the velocity and trajectory indicate deliberate approach." Marin's eyes narrowed. "Old enemies, or perhaps new ones. Either way, this means we are not alone." Alex stood straight, the weight of responsibility settling heavier than ever. "We came here to guard the past, but it seems the past is still hunting us." Outside, the stars gleamed cold and distant. The void held its secrets close, but something was reaching out, a ripple of dark intent threading through the Black Sea. "We need to prepare," Alex said. "Fortify the ship, strengthen the vault's defenses. We fight not just for ourselves, but for everyone who might come after." Marin placed a hand on Alex's shoulder, cold yet grounding. "The war is not over, but so long as we stand watch, hope remains." Alex nodded, gazing out into the endless night. The echoes of forgotten wars whispered in the void. The fires of conflict would one day blaze again. But for now, the last human ship stood vigilant, and that was enough. The stars outside the viewport seemed colder than ever, distant pinpricks of light swallowed by the darkness of the void. Commander Alex Rain stood alone on the bridge of the Vigilant Resolve, her silhouette bathed in the soft blue glow of the ship's controls. The hum of the vault beneath them, quiet but persistent, was a reminder that their mission was far from over. Behind her, the crew moved with purposeful silence, preparing the ship for the unknown arrival Vera had detected. Supplies were checked, weapons calibrated, shields reinforced. Every moment was a countdown to a battle they could neither predict nor fully understand. Alex's thoughts drifted back to the ancient war, the weapon buried beneath 944B, and the living vault that had become both prison and protector. The sacrifice of those who had gone before weighed heavy in the air, ghosts of forgotten wars etched into the steel and circuitry around her. "Commander," Vera's voice broke the silence, smooth but tense. "Incoming vessel detected. Unknown classification. Approaching at sublight velocity. No communications." Alex's jaw tightened. "Bring us to battle readiness. Shields up, weapons online." The viewport flickered as the incoming ship emerged from the void. A sleek, angular craft unlike anything they had encountered. Its surface shimmered with an adaptive camouflage that pulsed rhythmically, matching the vault's own heartbeat. Marin appeared at Alex's side, eyes sharp. "They found us. The past is reaching out to claim its due." The bridge crew braced as the alien ship drew closer, weapon systems locking on. A tense silence fell over the room, broken only by the steady pulse of the vault below and the distant crackle of energy gathering. Suddenly, the alien vessel sent a burst of electromagnetic pulses, disabling the Resolve's external sensors and jamming communications. "Shields holding," Vera reported, "but we're blind." Alex's fingers danced over the controls, engaging backup systems, rerouting power. "We'll fight in the dark if we have to." The first salvo of plasma bolts streaked through space, lighting the blackness like deadly comets. The Resolve answered in kind, volleys of energy lancing out to meet the attack. Inside the vault, the ancient weapon stirred anew, sensing the conflict above. The bioengineered core flickered, its pulse quickening as if feeding on the chaos. Alex realized then the terrible truth. The war they had tried to bury was awakening on all fronts, within the vault and among the stars. But humanity's last sentinel would not yield. "Steady," Alex commanded, voice steel. "We fight for every soul who came before us, and every future yet unborn." The battle raged, ship against ship, light against darkness, hope against oblivion. In the void of forgotten wars, the vigilant Resolve stood watch, a beacon blazing defiantly against the night. For as long as she drew breath, humanity's last ship would guard the flames of their legacy. The last watch was far from over,